Hello and welcome to GameLuster Plays Unreal. Today is the 20th anniversary of the original Unreal, which is why I'm playing it. And as I'm speaking, we're seeing the flyby that starts up at the start of the game. And this is the moment, like when I played it back in the day, when you knew this was going to be amazing because it looked awesome. Like the water graphics, the castle, the lighting, like the sky, it looked awesome and you knew you were in for a treat. And this was a groundbreaking graphical game back in the day. Also a groundbreaking narrative FPS game in a time before Half-Life was out. So let's dive in here, shall we? Let's see. Let's start a new game. I'll be Trevor. So you start off here in the Vortex Rikers, which is a prison freighter that has gotten pulled into the gravitational pull of an uncharted planet, and it crash lands. And this first level kind of has a horror, well, it doesn't kind of have, it has a horror vibe to it. As during the wreckage of the vessel and an alien menace besieges everyone, and there are screams, and there are bodies, and there's blood, and everything's scary.
You have entered a restricted area.
And also along the way in this game you get a universal translator that allows you to read logs like that, and that always scared me, but you can read logs that you pick up or journals with it, and it adds story to the game. Some backstory to the game. And the whole game keeps up a good pace. There's a lot of variety in it, as you'll see after this level. There's you start to really get into the meat of the game with a wide open level, and then a facility level, and yeah, a couple people are getting destroyed by an alien in there, but then there are ancient temples, there are wide open canyons. There's a lot of variety in the environments in this game, one of its strengths. And there goes the Scar, the main enemy in this game. So let me hurry up and get out of this desolate, depressing ship. I wish I had had a save at the first outdoor level, but I didn't, so let's hurry up and get out of this ship, and we will get outside where the game really takes off. And you can spend more time in this level. There was a lot of stuff I skipped just for the sake of this playthrough, GameLuster Plays. But the gist is, once you get to this level, you get to this level. And it was at this moment, when you first step outside after going through all that wreckage, that the awesomeness of this game really hit home. When you were playing this back in 1998 like I was, it blew you away. It wasn't Quake 2, it wasn't Quake 2, it was Unreal. That was why they named the game Unreal. Like the original Far Cry was named Far Cry because of its graphics engine. Its visuals were a far cry from anything you had seen. And this game was Unreal because it looked unreal. Its graphics were so good that it was unreal. And here are translator messages. I mean, I'm not going to read them all, but they talk about things like this one talks about contacting members of another wrecked human ship on this planet. Again, I'm not going to read them all, but you step outside here and this game just became all kinds of awesome back in the day. And the music too. The music, the soundtrack throughout this game is great. Superb stuff. And you get a feeling of that here. And I remember looking out over this view back in the day and just being completely blown away, especially the sky. But this is a first-person shooter. There is story, there are logs, There's beautiful views, but there are also monsters, or aliens. The Scar have a lot of allies here. They're colonizing this planet, abusing the native Nolly, and you're fighting the alien menace throughout and protecting the Nolly. And here's our first brute. I feel like I was demoing this game at like a press conference or something. And here's our first brute. And here's our first armor. Every FPS game had to have armor. And there's a little something. Oil slick, I guess. Notice the music changed to a combat theme. There are combat themes throughout each map in this game. Come on, little elevator. They put buttons in, but these elevators can still be as annoying as Quake elevators. FPS elevators just... I'm glad real-life elevators don't work like them, or else people would be jumping up and down and walking onto and off of elevators all the time. Man, I just love these sights. Even now, and I'm remembering, of course. That's part of it. And again, there's much more you can explore. I'm just kind of running through, skipping a lot of stuff. And here you get to the first enclosed facility type level, which is Radgar Mine. And your translator log even lets you read the signs. Universal translator, pretty handy. And here we have a tentacle. Back when I first played all these games, I always thought that Half-Life's barnacle enemy was like a follow-up to the tentacle. Something else stuck to a ceiling. Alien enemies stuck to ceilings are always pretty creepy. Like, here's a journal left behind by a Nolly talking about Harabed village on the other side of these mountains, and that's actually a map you get to later in the game. So anyway, wide open areas, enclosed facilities like this all throughout this game. But there's a lot more to it, a lot more different kind of environment, so why don't I take this elevator down? Well, no, I'll load, let me get this guy and I'll load a later level to show off more of the environments. I've got some, here we go, Nork's Elbow. This is a great level. Oh, and this is a great gun, the flat cannon. Most weapons in this game, and there are Gibbs, most weapons in this game have alternate firing modes, which was unusual. Well, I'm not an expert, although I did grow up with it, but like Quake 2, Quake, I mean, they didn't have alternate firing modes, and those were the FPS, you know, behemoths of when this game came out. But this game, every weapon has an alternate firing mode, and the flat cannon has this, and that. And this weapon is like a super shotgun. It's like a really cool, it's one of my top favorite FPS game weapons. Right up there with Quake 2 super shotgun, the Halo assault rifle, the Quake rocket launcher, of course. I mean, this weapon's great. And here's the 100 health. This game had little power-ups like that. But see, this is like a little peaceful Nolly settlement that's been destroyed by the invading aliens. And you see these throughout the game, and you'll read Nolly logs and see their little shrines, and sometimes read logs about how a savior's coming. And you get the idea that you're that savior, so there's a lot of little background stuff going on with the story. And again, really cool views throughout. I love these clouds, these canyons in the background, always really enhanced. Well, I mean, And then you see this temple here. It's like this game still has, but back in the day had great atmosphere. I mean, for an FPS game, this was really amazing. You play Quake and Quake 2, and then you come to this. This game was like the first Quake killer. This game put Epic Mega Games on the map, and they're like the first id competitor. This game came out same year as Half-Life, but several months before Half-Life. So to me, this will always be like the first really like interesting non-Quake FPS game that went for a thicker story and atmosphere and more enhanced gameplay. Here's a Nolly, and this is an old Nolly temple, and this is a rocket launcher. The alternate fire is shooting grenades, and here's the primary fire, shooting rockets, and you can charge them up. A lot of other weapons throughout, but nothing beats the flat cannon. And I'm about to wrap up here my little GameLuster Plays Unreal 20-year anniversary retrospective, but this is the Temple of Vandora, a really cool level with really cool atmosphere and music. And you can say that for just about most of the maps, the levels in this game. Great atmosphere, great music. These things, annoying flying enemies, also a staple of FPS games. Let me see if there's another level here before I quit. Oh, Bluff Ever Smoking is pretty cool. Has a cool name too. This is the Bio Rifle. And if you've ever played an Unreal Tournament game, you of course are familiar with all these weapons already. But if, like me, you play this before Unreal Tournament, then you recognized all these weapons from this game in Unreal Tournament. And the Dispersion Pistol, this is a gun you start out with, but throughout you can get upgrades for it that keep adding little parts to it, like you see here. A lever to open this somewhere. There we go. A lot of complicated maps in this game too. Labyrinths and stuff. Like, see, this is obviously a monastery, a Nolly monastery. Here in this little mountainy area. Well, it is a bluff. And I love this gun out. You can hear the slime stick onto the walls. And I love using it in the Unreal Tournament games too. Here's some Crawl. Crawler in Unreal Tournament 3. Yeah, Unreal Tournament 3 if you remember. But they first appeared in this game. So anyway, I'll wrap up here, but Unreal is a great old school first-person, well, it's just a great first-person shooter. Very atmospheric. There's a interesting backstory if you read the logs and pay attention to things. It was a standout game for its time in an era when, you know, the idea of an FPS game was Quake and Quake 2. And not to belittle those games, I mean, they're still great. It's just this game gave a different flavor to an FPS title. The first big well-known blockbuster game, well, I don't want to use that word, but first really big game from Epic Mega Games. Now just Epic Games, or I think even now just Epic. They keep shortening it. But anyway, Unreal, it's on GOG and Steam for $10, Unreal Gold, which includes all the patches and the mission pack. I highly recommend this game. It's a 20-year anniversary, so it's a great, appropriate time to be playing it. This is Trevor with GameLuster Plays Unreal. Thank you for watching.